The Battle of the Beverages, Coffee versus Tea. Comedy audio story. It was a sweltering summer day at the neighborhood cafe. All the drinks were lined up on the counter, trying their best to look appealing and refreshing to the steady stream of thirsty customers. Coffee sipped on his hot, steaming self with a smug look on his caffeinated face. He eyed the other drinks condescendingly. "You lightweights don't even compare to my energizing power," he boasted in his rich, robust voice. "One whiff of me in the morning and humans are instantly invigorated." Tea rolled her eyes at Coffee's bravado. Her floral, herbal scent wafted through the air as she retorted, "Oh puh, you're nothing but a bitter, burned bean juice. I provide true nourishment and relaxation for the soul." The other drinks watched in rapt attention as the two titans began to verbally spar. Soda popped his cola top in anticipation. "This is gonna be good," he whispered to Milkshake. Lemonade leaned over to iced tea. $10 says Coffee loses his temper first. "You're on." Iced tea clinked her glass against Lemonade's. Coffee's face turned an even darker shade at Tea's insult. "Bitter. I'll show you bitter, you dried up old bag." He began hurling steaming hot insults at her. "At least I can get people through the day without putting them straight to sleep like your soporific sludge." Tea was deeply offended. Smoke began billowing out of her ceramic vessel. "Soporific sludge? Why, you little brown gnat's piss." She hurled her own blistering tirade back at Coffee, staining the air blue with her scathing words. The other drinks gasped at the profanity flying between the two giants. Sports Drink tried to calm everyone down. Hey, chill out guys. We're all refreshing in our own ways." But the two combatants were too far gone, caught up in an escalating word fight of epic proportions. Milk just shook his creamy white head and sighed at the pathetic display by the typically civilized duo. Coffee lobbed towards Tea. "You limp dish rag, you couldn't wake up a narcoleptic sloth. Well, at least I don't have the personality of diarrhea, you roasted turd." Tea shouted back. The other drinks frantically ducked for cover as the insults turned even more foul and disgusting. It was getting too intense. Finally, Milk could stand no more of the childish back and forth. In a bold move, he leapt out from behind the safety of Milkshake and planted himself squarely between the warring parties. "Enough," he bellowed in a voice so commanding it instantly silenced the stunned Coffee and Tea. All the other drinks looked on in shock and awe as the usually shy and timid Milk took center stage. Emboldened by their rapt attention, Milk turned first to Coffee with fury in his cold, white eyes. "Coffee, what do you think you are without me? A nasty puddle of brown sludge that even skunks wouldn't go near. It's my rich, creamy smoothness that gives you your delightful texture and drinkability." Coffee opened his mouth to object, but Milk wasn't finished. He whirled toward Tea with equal intensity. "And you, Tea, you self-righteous shriveled old prune, who do you think provides your enticing aroma and robust body? Not those measly leaves, I can tell you that." Tea's jaw dropped as she realized Milk was absolutely right. She and Coffee both owed their exquisite flavors and craveable qualities to this humble drink they had constantly overlooked and taken for granted. Milk stood triumphantly as the truth he spoke washed over the beverage combatants. "That's right, all of you owe your deliciousness and popularity to little old me. Without Milk, you'd all be disgusting swill that no one in their right mind would dare consume." The other drinks watched in hushed awe at Milk's impassioned outburst. He really did provide the smooth, creamy, scrumptious element that made so many of them palatable and enjoyable. Milk could see the shame and realization wash over coffee and tea's chastened faces. He decided to twist the steak a little more before letting them off the hook. In fact, I'm going on strike. Let's see how you haughty refreshments fare when I take my velvety scrumptiousness out of the equation. With that, Milk turned and leapt off the counter, splattering on the floor in a creamy puddle of protest. The other drinks gasped at his daring act of milky insurrection. Coffee and tea could only stand in dumbfounded silence as the truth of Milk's words slowly sank in. What were they without his perfect, complementary companion? The next few days at the cafe were a study in beverage humiliation. Customers despaired at the sudden lack of delicious, creamy milk to add to their morning coffees and afternoon teas. Black coffee was declared to be utterly undrinkable molten tar, and even the most hardcore tea purists begrudgingly admitted that a splash of milk adorned their earthy brews with delectable richness. By the end of the week, coffee and tea were mere shadows of their former glorious selves, ignored and untouched by the disappointed customers. The only beverage in high demand was the smug and vindicated milk, being happily gulped down by the glassful by parched patrons everywhere. Finally, coffee and tea could take no more of this milky banishment. They swallowed what little remained of their tattered prides and approached Milk's puddle with teary humble pleas. "Please, Milk, we're begging you." Coffee croaked out in a hoarse whisper. "Return to us and restore our greatness. We were arrogant fools to ever look down on your sublime essence. We're nothing without your heavenly goodness." Tea wept, her withered brew bag shriveled up in despair. Milk eyed the formerly haughty Beverages, enjoying their desperate and pathetic groveling just a little too much. Then, taking pity, he magnanimously let them off the hook. "Very well, I will rejoin you. But, this time you will appreciate me. I am the key ingredient that elevates you basic drinks to supremely delectable delights." Yes, of course. Coffee and tea readily agreed, never to underestimate Milk's sublime contributions ever again. And so the three drinks were reunited in all their complementary glory. But this time, coffee and tea made sure to pay proper respect to Milk and the essential role he played in their velvety smooth, delicious goodness. In fact, the newly reformed trio made such a fantastic team working together. Their blissfully caffeinated and flavorful concoctions were more popular than ever. The patrons reveled in their rich, creamy, energizing brews, while the other beverage bystanders quietly took note of Milk's indispensable importance as well. And to this day, whenever the drinks socialize at the local cafes and coffee shops, coffee and tea make sure to always give a grateful nod toward Milk and any other accompaniment that enhances them. For they learned the hard way that, in the beverage world, almost no drink is truly great on its own. It's the delightful dance of different flavors and ingredients coming together in harmony that creates the most satisfying and craveable refreshments. The end.